Welcome to USA Stories channel. We hope you will have fun with us. Enjoy watching. That night was unlike any other. I stood at the sink, hands plunged into warm, soapy water, savoring a rare stillness that wrapped around me like a soft blanket. My husband John had just stepped out, muttering something about grabbing breakfast supplies from the store on Atlantic Avenue. The house was mine. Finally, no blaring LED TV, no endless chatter, just the gentle hum of running water and the clink of dishes as I scrubbed them clean. My name is Evelyn Bennett, 32 years old, tucked away in a modest Brooklyn brownstone with John. The kitchen glowed under the amber light of the pendant lamp swaying above me, casting a warm halo over the suds. Bubbling in the sink, I let out a soft sigh, the heat seeping into my fingers, easing the day's tension. My movements were almost hypnotic. Pick up a plate, scrub it spotless, rinse it under the faucet, set it on the rack, repeat outside. The streetlights painted the wet pavement in hazy streaks of pale yellow. They glow shimmering across the window pane. Faint hooks drifted in from the restless city, a reminder that New York never truly slept. I closed my eyes for a fleeting second. Basking in the quiet before John returned would pull me back into the rhythm of our life. Then a shiver sliced down my spine. I hadn't heard the door creak open. No footsteps echoed through the hardwood floor, but something was there. A presence, heavy and undeniable, loomed just behind me, my body locked up, breath snagging in my throat as a familiar whiff of sandalwood and tobacco curled into the air. I didn't need to turn to know who it was. Jacob Grayson, John college buddy, his shadow practically brushing my back. The wet plate slipped slightly in my grip as I fought to steady myself. Maybe I was imagining it. Maybe he just popped by to say hi. But if that were true, why hadn't I heard him come in? Why was he so close? I could feel the heat radiating off him. What are you doing here, Jacob? My voice trembled, despite my effort to keep it even a low. Velvet chuckle brushed against the nape of my neck, sending a jolt through me. Just wanted to look at you, he murmured. The words hung there, vague, unsettling. I forced my hands to keep moving, scrubbing the same spot on the plate over and over, pretending his breath wasn't pickling my skin. But the silence that followed wasn't peaceful anymore. It was suffocating. Thick as a rope, coiling tighter around us. I could feel his gaze sharp and unyielding, slicing across me like a blade. You're so quiet for someone who just walked in, I said, straining to sound casual, though my voice betrayed me with a faint quiver. Didn't want to bother you, he replied. Sarcasm threading through every syllable, my fingers tightened around the sink's edge, the water still streaming, though its warmth had faded from my senses. Jacob shifted just a whisper of movement, but it was enough. The space between us shrank. I tilted my head slightly, catching his reflection in the corner of my eye. The kitchen's soft light carved harsh shadows across his face, his dark eyes glinting, fixed on me with an intensity that made my stomach twist. A slow smirk tugged at his lips like he held a secret I hadn't yet unraveled, whereas John the First asked, forcing lightness into my tone. Though the tension bled through, Jacob shrugged, that maddening smile, still playing on his face, still out. He paused, tilting his head. Thought you might need someone to keep you company. My gut clenched, not just at the words but at the way he said them, each one dripping with intent, probing me like a diarrhea. I swallowed hard, willing my nerves to settle. I don't need anyone. I'm just washing dishes. My voice sharpened, a weak shield against the unease blooming inside me. Jacob leaned against the counter, arms crossed, his stare never wavering. Do you always work this hard? I forced a tight smile. Someone's got to clean up after dinner. But he didn't laugh. Instead, his head tipped slightly, his eyes tracing my face with a slow, deliberate sweep, as if peeling back layers I didn't want exposed. I don't think John appreciates you enough. The words landed like a stone in still water, rippling through me. I froze, turning to face him fully. What he didn't answer immediately, his gaze bore into mine, deep and pacing, searching for something buried within me. When he spoke again, his voice dropped, edged with a quiet sharpness. He leaves you alone too much. The air thickened, pressing against my C*******T. My knuckles whitened around the sink handle as I fought to keep my breathing steady. This was a line, a fragile, trembling line, and Jacob knew he'd just nudged it. I turned back to the dishes, desperate to ignore the storm brewing in my ribcage. The water's steady murmur was my anchor, a lifeline to normalcy. Just a conversation, just ask Jacob. But his presence loomed. Too close, the heat of him seeping through my thin shirt. Then he spoke again, his voice low and deliberate. You should stop. I stiffened. Stop what? I asked. But my tone wavered. He didn't reply right away. I could feel his eyes roving down, my neck weighing something. Then he stepped back the sudden distance. Jarring ochre, he said, voice flat. See you later. I exhaled, not realizing I'd been holding my breath. His footsteps faded through the house and the front door clicked shut. He was gone. I stared at the water, swirling down the drain, my pulse still hammering, but his shadow lingered, a ghost I couldn't shake. I clenched my fists, a strained ache swelling in my C********. Not quite fear, not quite safety. I thought it was over. I was wrong. Minutes later, footsteps returned, slow, deliberate. My heart lurched as I spun around, hoping it was John, maybe back for something he'd forgotten. But no, Jacob stood in the doorway, his silhouette slicing a shadow across the floor, his eyes locked on mine, unwavering, unapologetic. Why are you still here? I demanded, my voice harder now, though it trembled at the edges. He stepped inside, shutting the door with a slow, purposeful thud. I flinched. You forgot something, he said, his tone light, but laced with something dangerous. The kitchen shrank, the walls closing in. I knew I should run, scream anything, but my feet were rooted to the floor. You should go, Jacob. The words were firm but weak against the storm in his eyes. His smile unfurled, lazy and knowing. You feel it too, don't you, Evelyn? My breath hitched. As the boundary between us dissolved, he stepped closer, each movement measured until only a whisper of space remained. He trusts you, he murmured, his breath grazing my cheek, maybe too much. My fingers dug into the counter as his hand brushed my arm. Just a ghost of a touch, but it sparked like lightning through me. I should have shoved him away, yelled anything instead. I stood frozen. His lips hovered above mine, a heartbeat from crossing the line, then tires crunched in the driveway. Reality slammed into me like ice water. I pushed him back, gasping. Go now. Jacob lingered, his gaze dark and unreadable, then slipped out the back door without a word. My hands shook as I pressed them to my C*******, willing my heart to slow. Seconds later, the front door swung open. John breezed in, oblivious grocery bags, rustling baby. I got everything we need. I turned, forcing a smile. Burying the chaos beneath a mask, he hugged me from behind, kissing my temple. You okay? You look flushed. Yeah. I lied, nodding, just the steam. He chuckled, teasing me about overworking, and I tried to laugh along. But as we unpacked the groceries, Jacob's phantom touch clung to my skin. Relief should have flooded me instead. I knew this was only the beginning. In the days that followed, I tried to erase it, pretending his breath hadn't grazed my lips, that his presence hadn't unraveled me. But I couldn't. Every trip to the store, every glance out the window I felt watched. One night, pouring water in the kitchen, that chill returned. My heart sank. I looked up, and there he was. Jacob framed in the window, his face half lit by the street lights, eyes glinting, a faint smile curling his lips. He knew exactly what I was feeling, and I knew he wouldn't let me forget. If you enjoyed this suspenseful story and want to hear more, please make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more thrilling content.